Hi everybody, welcome back to another one of our classes for floral. Today we're going to teach you how to make a centerpiece using some of our products throughout our store. And I'm so excited to be here. I'm Andy, and I'm the designer for Blooms. And I'm so excited that you have joined us for this wonderful, great class. I want to teach you how to be a designer in your home. And I'd like to welcome Chef Charlotte, who's going to be our moderator tonight.
Hey there everyone, if you guys have any questions for Andy, put them in the chat and we will answer them in real time. I will ask Andy all of your wonderful questions. I am so glad to see you and to meet you. And I have a quick question. So we threw your name up there on the screen and there was all of this alphabet soup at the end. Please tell me what AIFD and CFD mean.
So AIFD is my national certification. There's 1,400 of us in the world. I actually have my, almost like a doctorate, I guess you would say, in floral design. So what we're doing with that is, it means it's American Society of Institute of Floral Design, and that is behind my name. So I've worked hard. It's like a addendum, like a doctor would have behind their name. And
wow.
The CFD is like certified floral designer. So that's what that is, and that's who I am. So I've worked a long time to do it, and I'm so excited to be here and to show you how to do things and make you a designer.
Well, okay, so I'm here for it. This is my own personal floral class, so I'm very excited. Tell us a little bit about what you have in front of you.
So we have a few things in front of us. This is all the centerpieces that we have coming in, or some of the centerpieces. We have a lot more inside ready that our beautiful designers that are in our stores are making just for you to pick up. So we have our pumpkin, which comes in a white. We have an orange. We have a metallic this year. So the pumpkin centerpiece is here. We also have a taper centerpiece, which is more of a traditional look to it with a taper candle. And we have our large and beautiful, which I love, our luxurious, beautiful pillar candle centerpiece. So these all can be bought inside of our stores. You can buy them, you can pick them up the week of, or you can go in if you really want the centerpiece and make sure you have it that week. Go in the store and order it from your floral manager. They'll be more than happy to take the order for you and make this wonderful centerpiece for you so you can have it the day of your Thanksgiving dinner or a friends gathering or whatever you may be doing for the holiday season. So here we are, but I'm going to teach you how to take this centerpiece and make this great, wonderful table runner that's going to impress your friends, but it's also going to teach you some tricks and techniques that maybe you can use even after the holidays to make you that wonderful host at your house. So we'll put these aside. We're going to use this smaller one as our jumping off point is a better word to put. And so this is, again, our taper centerpiece that you can buy in store at Blooms. And I'm going to take, and I'm going to add a few things to it. So there's some things I'm using. So all the stuff that you see except for this thing, which is the beautiful tablecloth that I have, I'll talk about it in a minute. And I actually bought the gold silverware from my house. But the napkins, the plates, and everything else that I'm showing you comes from our stores. So Seasonal has some of this stuff, and Blooms also has some of this stuff inside our department. So again, check this all out. It's available for you to purchase and make this happen inside your house. So the first thing I'm going to add, my favorite thing, is these great little acorns. They're actually candles, and I think they're really awesome. If this was me in my house, I would take a beautiful gold marker and put people's names on it, and I'd put that as my place card in the center of that plate if this was my house. But you know what? If you're not that crafty and can't write that pretty, I understand, got it. I don't want that pretty either. I just kind of really make it happen. So I'm going to use this actually as a piece going throughout my table.
That is a brilliant idea.
And so it's not only just a giveaway that you can give away, but it's also a candle that you can light up and have beautifully throughout the table. So then I'm also going to add the same thing with this. This can be a giveaway or a table marker as well. How cute is that? To put this in or on your plates, but also I'm going to put those throughout the center of my to make a gorgeous table runner. So here we are with that. So we have 2 succulents. I'm going to add a couple more.
So let me ask you a quick question. So what you're doing is, so you start with the centerpiece, which by the way, I understand you design all of all of these bouquets and centerpieces within Bloom. So these come from your brain, your imagination.
Yes.
I love that. So you're starting with the centerpiece as the focal point, and you're balancing it. Is that what, okay.
So beautiful design is symmetry. People think that floral design is like, oh, they're creative and neat. And actually really beautiful floral design is math. People don't realize symmetry and math, they go hand in hand. So you think triangles, threes. I do some doubles. I don't mind doing doubles. If you stack doubles, like in this arrangement, it's perfectly fine to do doubles as long as you stack them and not put them like eyes. So that's another trick too. So if you stack them, they're beautiful, but separated, they can look like eyes in an arrangement. So you don't want to do that.
I got that. Okay.
So then I'm going to add to it these gorgeous succulents. This is spectacular. It's a large succulent, and I was going to add this, and this could be like if you have like co-hosts for that, you know, for a Friendsgiving or something like that.
Yeah.
This can be the giveaway for them. So what I'm doing is I'm creating this beautiful table and going to put these gorgeous items throughout it to create a really beautiful long runner throughout my whole table. And I chose this one for like a medium-sized table. Most people have like a 6 to 8 seater table, and this is kind of the size I would do for that. This is more of the larger size one is more of like a longer table that you would see maybe like 10, maybe 12, or you could use this as one centerpiece just by itself on a regular size table. So then I'm going to add to that, I'm going to pick up a couple of things. I'm going to go in our department, we have these gorgeous greens. We keep these all the time, and I'm going to use these to make a garland. This is going to be a simple garland. You know, that's one of those things when I was looking at trend and whatever that's still trending so popular is garland is really a hot ticket still again. And so you're going to create a garland by just simply cutting off the end, leave the rubber band on, less of a mess. And I'm going to beautifully lay my greenery throughout this beautiful centerpiece that's already started, just to add some depth to it, but also make it look like it's an extension of this main centerpiece. So I'm going to do that.
So I have a question while you're doing that. I have a question from one of our viewers, Courtney McDougall. She wants to know, like when picking a centerpiece, how does height play into the decision? Like if you're having a dinner party or
if you're having something intimate in your home, you want it conversational size. So you want something that you can see over, which makes it gorgeous for a beautiful garland because you can see completely over it. Which this is different from going to a party. In a party, you don't have to do that. It's a bigger table usually. And Emily Post says that you should not talk across the table to anyone but to your neighbor beside you. So that's kind of like a little etiquette technique that you can learn from Emily Post when you go into a big party. But this is more of a conversational size, so you really want to make it low and pretty. I try to make it feel engaging because if it's big and in your face, it can be ostentatious a little bit and like really cut off the conversation. And really you're there to have a conversation and love each other, meet each other, catch up with family and friends. That's what really this table is about.
Fantastic. And then one other question somebody asked, your candles. So when serving a meal, how do you feel about scented versus unscented candles?
I try to go unscented with my candles. If you do have a scent, I try to keep it like a basically food scent. Like these have a little bit light, like a light vanilla smell to it. I'm okay with that as long as it's not too strong, as long as it smells good. Also like rosemary and things like that, it can be okay. But usually I try to keep everything non-scented on a table because you don't want to overwhelm the sense of smell because that's one of the things that really plays a part in you eating and dining and having a good time is your sense of smell, and you don't want to overwhelm your guests with an artificial smell. So I usually try to keep it unscented. So, but this does have a little bit, it's a little bit light, almost vanilla smell, faint. So I'm okay with that. So I'm adding this throughout the whole table, and it's kind of getting not really full, but you can add more if you want to. So if you want to make it really full and lush, you can add a lot more to it. But the icing on the cake is going to be, I'm going to take that beautiful bouquet. So I bought the centerpiece, but there's also the bouquet this is made from is right here. So this is our beautiful bouquet. This is our give thanks arrangement for the holidays. And we're going to take and basically cut the heads of it off, and I'm going to lay the flowers throughout it to really create that garland.
Can you tell me a little bit about the flowers that are in that bouquet?
So in this bouquet, we have daisies, like a nice easy daisy. We have a disc bud. I love these bicolor disc buds in here. This is a safflower, which is basically where they get south oil from that you can cook with. Then there's a carnation in there. There's some alstemia. Again, there's some beautiful daisy mums in there, so they're really pretty in there, and also some eucalyptus. And there's different types of eucalyptus. This eucalyptus is more like a feather eucalyptus or a guinea eucalyptus. And you can add this to the table too, just to really extend this whole centerpiece because it's in the centerpiece that we've made that's already pre-made. So again, I'm still I leave mine in the wrapper because it's less mess. I just cut all the tops, all the heads off of everything. As my mom would say, Andy Morticia Adams everything. And so we know what that is. She cuts all the heads off all the flowers and uses the stem. And so my mom always says that about me, that I'm Morticia Adams a lot of flowers. If I was going to have multiple parties, I would not, I would probably use maybe little bottles or little beautiful little pieces and add it throughout my whole table so that way I can reuse the flowers. This is only good for that night or that afternoon that you're using it. So you may want to like think about how many parties you're going to have before you actually cut all the heads off. I think I would just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to use it for that night only. I'm good with it. I can just put these beautiful flowers as is throughout my whole table and start creating this really pretty, beautiful centerpiece. And again, back the flowers. So if you put one flower this way, put another one the other way, so that way there's not a backside of a flower.
Yeah.
So on both sides, it's actually really, really gorgeous and beautiful.
So I do have a question. Since we're talking about those flowers, the centerpiece itself, should we water it or is it okay to leave? Tell me about that.
So when you get it, there'll probably be some water in it, but you want to get it home and you want to keep it watered. So it's in Oasis, which I love Oasis. It's basically a floral foam that you can design in. There is an additive in it to make it last a lot longer.
Yeah.
Your flowers actually longer than in water. So there's actually lips and everything. So I stick my finger down here like this one needs some water. So I would fill it up so I can feel the water in it.
Okay.
And make sure it's full of water all the time.
Great.
You know, especially now it's getting a little chilly. We put our heat on sometimes. The house gets a little hot. It's really bad for flowers. So you really want to be cognizant of when you're watering things and how you're and how hot it is in your house, because that's the first thing that kills flowers is water. I mean, is the heat and not the water usage of them.
Really?
Yes.
I'm learning so much.
Well, you learn. I mean, it's one of the things you learn because flowers are really it's a science lesson, I guess. So flowers lose all of their water through their petals, and so if you can it already comes with it pre-misted.
Yeah.
If you can just mist it a little bit with some water is wonderful. Not overly do it. That helps too. Again, it loses so much of all of its water through its petals, and so you want to keep them not so dry. But then heat really wreaks havoc. I mean, even though it can be fresh and gorgeous, you crank that heat up in your house or actually just turn it on regularly, and all of a sudden it's like you have dead flowers just because everything is going awry because everything's so hot, and then your flowers are losing all their water through their petals and trying to stay alive, and then it's just a whole big mess of all your flowers not living as long as they should.
So I do have another question, and this is a personal question. What was your inspiration when you created these arrangements, these concepts?
I'm all about color, so that's probably one of the first things that I do is have my color. I really stay trend forward with color. Flowers, there's some new flowers that come out. We really stay on top of it. Actually, I travel all over the world and actually put these flowers together. A lot of people don't realize that 85% of the flowers in the world are grown in South America.
Really?
And so people think, oh, you grow them in Texas, and we really don't grow them in Texas. We have some, the Aronofsky Farm, which is gorgeous. We have those in stores, which is grown here in Texas. But the life is so much longer because of the growing season. So you really have to think through that whole process. But again, I'm going to come back with some more of my greenery and kind of just fill in. You're just kind of making this beautiful tablescape throughout your whole centerpiece, and then you can add some more stuff to it. Again, as you think through, I think of Thanksgiving. I think of everything being full, everything having a lot of everything being full and fresh and lush, and just like the holiday season is itself. But again, I can add some more of those to there, some more candlelight. I love candlelight during a dinner party.
I do too.
It makes your skin look good. So always makes your skin
perfect. I'm only going to have candles in my house from now on.
So yeah, just totally do that. But again, I'm just adding some pieces. I'm trying to do this. I'm on the back side of it, but I can kind of see some of it. But as I see holes, I'm just trying to add some more flowers in. Again, you can add more greenery. If you're one of those people that love greenery, you can add some more greenery to it.
Okay, so I am a more is more person.
Oh yes.
Is that okay when it comes to floral arrangements?
As long Yes, as long as you don't overcrowd, like as far as like you start squishing flowers, you want to see the flower.
Okay.
If you start putting too many flowers in there, start to squish it, then it's maybe a little overkill.
Okay, that's a great
Let
question.
let your flowers shine. Again, you can stack it. There's ways to not make it look smushed or compact. You can actually stack, which is a great way, or terracing, which is a designer term that we use a lot of, is terracing. I do love that, and again, like when you talk about table levels on your table, all the big designers say that there should be 7 levels on your table. So like from the napkin to the charger to the plate to this piece to the flowers to the linen. And actually this linen, speaking of, this is really not a linen. Actually, I'm a really big proponent of, like, when I go and look for linens inside the store, they're never pretty to me, or they're really short, or they can feel plasticky, or they can feel very like not really pretty. So what I do is I go to my local home store or Home Goods or wherever, and I buy a blanket. And this is what this is a blanket, a really thin blanket that I've used as my tablecloth. I love using like a king or a queen size blanket on a table because it fits most tables and it hangs down. I love for a tablecloth to hang down as well and not be just lips off the edge.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a tactile person. When I sit at my table, I touch everything, I feel everything, I'm looking at everything, and everything to me is, it's just all about the experience and the detail of it. So when you're
I
looking
can
through
see
it,
this about you just from watching
Right?
you put this together.
and
It's
again,
about the
cute little stuff. Again, I found this, again, this is in the seasonal collection in our stores. Again, it's a salt and pepper shaker. Again, it's the whole theme. I love the whole theme of this. It's pumpkins, but it's, again, I chose. If you look at the plate, I chose the blue because I didn't want something so traditional. I wanted something a little more or upbeat, that maybe fit a little more modern feeling than this. I know this is a traditional centerpiece, but if this doesn't work with your house, it's really easy. You can take and remove this. And I know that we have a lot of people are all about, like that modern farmhousey kind of look. You can take and easily just add that to it. Again, you want to move some of your flowers around. Some stuff may shift it. Again, I can add some more greenery to it. But again, this may fit the lifestyle of your house and look better in your home to fit that kind of need. Again, you can actually just take and do the greenery down the table and add some candles to it, and that could be beautiful for some people's
right.
homes.
And so if somebody wanted to, they could put some like fresh pumpkins, like little mini pumpkins, or the.
That's what I would do to step it up a notch. I would come through here and I would just get a bunch of the little mini gourds in our department and just add those throughout it too. I love just being lush and over and full. I love that whole feel of it. So, and you can add, again, you can add more stuff to it. Again, this is our Lone Star Living bouquet for this month. So again, I would just pick the flowers from the Lone Star Living and put them all throughout there. Those sunflowers are spectacular. The beauty of a sunflower is I can pull one. Is they lay flat when they're cut and they last a long time. You can actually bring that whole look by cutting it off flat and putting it on your table as well.
Oh my gosh.
So there's this really, here, there's this whole way of like looking at it, and I think it just adds that little level of like differentness to it. Just think about maybe some herbs next to that, some rosemary in that on the table would be really pretty.
So I just noticed the pumpkin on the plate.
Yes.
The blue plate, which complements the orange, which is what you said, and then
Yes.
the little pumpkin matches the little pumpkin salt and pepper guy.
It's all about pulling the whole thing together, and it's about, again, I think about things as like giveaways, or as like, I think like, oh, it's giveaways, but also it helps me clean my table up at the end of the night.
I love that.
So you can kind of give it away, and it's like, okay, it's all gone out of my house, because I'm that person. I decorate, I want it beautiful, but then I want it gone the next day. I'm that person. So Charlotte is too.
Yes,
so,
I am too.
So I love that whole give it away, whatever, because it's like, here, thank you for coming, whatever. And it's just a little surprise to me as your guests get into your house. So
Oh my gosh, and what a good feeling, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's the time of giving, and like,
Yeah.
and again, I'm gonna finish it off. Again, these great glasses, they say grateful and thankful. Again, they come from our gorgeous seasonal area, and it's just, I think that's just an added touch. And you always put it on that side. I always was taught that when people say, "Oh my gosh, what side do you put it on?" Whatever, and it's like bread. It's like it's like your bread and drink. So your hands say A and B, or you say
Yes.
B and D. So you just use that. So it's always one of those things when you go, your drink's on your right, and on your left is your bread. So that's kind of tells you that's your bread to eat on the table, but that's also where your drink should go when you're sitting at a table properly. And then you always work, as you look at the silverware, you always work from the outside and go in. And then your knife should always point toward the food and not yourself. So again, those little tricks to make it just that extra mile when you go. And again, I love for my guests to be fully immersed in my house and just feel like, oh my gosh, you went the extra mile for me, and I love it. So, have any questions?
I do. We were talking earlier in the day we did a little rehearsal. You were talking about the presidential folds.
Yes.
So tell me.
So I've done many state dinners for a lot of presidents, and so when I would go, they would always have this presidential fold because it's easy, and it's just basically you take the napkin that we have here. Again, these napkins came from Seasonal. You take the napkin and you fold it into thirds.
Okay.
Lay it out beautiful and flat, and it goes underneath your charger.
Okay.
So you put them down first, and then your charger or your charger plate goes there first, and then you do the next one. And this is so easy because they can be done ahead of time. And for me, it's just an easy way to keep, it's not so fussy. It's easy to use, which I know most people want it easy to use because when they start doing their table, they're like, oh my gosh, like these beautiful folds on here, how do I take it apart? Or I don't want to mess it up. So you have all this going on in your guest's mind. So this is so much easier to use. And again, I'm going to put the last one here. And they can be, honestly, pre-done, pre-folded, nice and starched if you would like to do that. I use real napkins every day at my house. And so when your guest is here and they're sitting down, all they do is pull it and they can use it.
Perfect.
Versus trying to unfold it, trying to get out of a glass.
Or like a napkin ring. And then
or
like
something
what
like
you
that.
do.
I think it's just so much easier. It just feels much better. To me personally, it just feels a lot more easy for your guests. And that's what it's all about is treating your guests like they're everything to you, which they are. They're your family, they're your friends, and you don't want them to feel like it's stuffy. You want this to feel nice, luscious. You want to feel like you put thought and effort to it, and you want them to feel happy in your house. That's really
very
the main
welcoming.
thing. So yes.
So there's a couple of things that I love what you did. I love that you pulled things from your just around your house that you love. So like the way you do the tablecloth with a blanket is brilliant, and it's your signature, right? It's a piece of you, which I think is so fantastic. And then of course your silverware. I just think that's the most brilliant. I want to go to your house and pull things from your house and decorate a table.
I love it. I love dishware. I grew up not using anything plastic. My dad was really big about that. So we use real napkins every meal. And it's also earth friendly to me too. I'm all about that. And I'm trying to, we work really hard with our farms to keep them earth friendly as well. So I'm a proponent of being very earth conscious when I decorate. So again, this is reused. We use real pumpkins also in our department too, which is a great reusable thing. I try to make things that are reusable, things that you can, again, they can be collector's items. They can, they can be passed down to your family or whatever. And you use that for Thanksgiving for the last 10 years. It's those memories that you make that really make your home special to you and your family and guests. So.
I think that's fantastic. Okay, I have one question from one of our viewers, Josie. So if you're doing a family style meal.
Yes.
How would you arrange the table differently? Would you add more or less?
So when I do family meals a lot, I love that whole feel of it. What I do is I take it apart and I add first. I just had a baby shower at my house and I just did this in my own home. So what I do is I take and buy tiers, like cake tiers and whatever, and I set my food with a sticky note of where my food's going on those tiers. Then I come in with all my floral around all those tiers. So all your food is elevated throughout your whole table. There may be some stuff there may be some stuff that's low down on your table, which is fine, leave room for it. That's why sticky notes are very important. But then I work the food around all those areas. So really, flowers and that whole family meal works beautifully together.
I love that.
On a table. And again, it just adds to the eyes, it just adds to that whole, again, it's taste, it's smell, it's visual, and that just adds another level of beautifulness to your guests and your family and your friends to see. I think it's beautiful, especially if everything's plated beautifully or laid out really nicely on your table.
You eat with your eyes first.
You always eat with your eyes.
Yes.
That's what I always say. You eat with your eyes first.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely adore this. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I have one other question, and it goes back to keeping our flowers healthy and alive. Floral Life. Do you ever use that product?
Yes, we use all kinds of, so in our stores we use crystal.
Okay.
And they are basically it's the flower food that you can add to your flower, to your vase arrangements and stuff like that. It's already in the Oasis product, so
Okay.
you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Okay.
As long as you keep that water fresh, you're good with that. And honestly, if you're going to have 3 or 4 more parties, again, like I just think it's so nice if you just take and say, hey, like I'm just pretending. This is my little grandmother's cups, and I love them like juice cups. I love to use juice cups as containers at my own home. I collect them. And so just think if you just fill that little juice cup with some cute flowers, and let's say you have 3 or 4 parties coming up, and you just fill that full of flowers and then dot that through your table, you're using something that's sentimental, that you have fabulousness that from your family that maybe passed down from your aunt or uncle, mother or grandmother or grandfather, and you're using that, and that could be a way to keep water for your flowers if you're having multiple parties throughout the week or for the holiday season.
All right, and then I have one other question regarding like keeping our flowers fresh. How do you feel about mixing, or would you mix some artificial or with like, real flowers?
So if I really want it, so I would use it as a base. Again, I don't really, the rule of thumb for designers is if you can touch and feel it, it needs to be real.
Okay.
But if you use it as a base, I'm okay with that. Like if you wanted to have if you had a really great artificial garland that you bought at a home store, or actually our department has them too. We actually have beautiful garlands. I picked out these gorgeous artificial garlands that are eucalyptus and they're spectacular. You can run that through there first and then add real stuff to it and fake it. So I'm all about that too. If it looks real and it feels real almost, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But you have to tread lightly on that. I think it's one of those things that I add to it just to make it fuller. That's all.
And isn't there a word? What are they in the design world? They're not fake flowers. They're
So we use it. It could be faux, but
faux.
So it's a faux flower. It's a permanent botanical is the word designers and we like to use now as a permanent botanical.
Permanent botanical.
So AKA silk flower, fake flower. Same thing. It's just a nicer way of saying it because you have that way back in the day they were like really. Not really that pretty. They've come a long way actually, and they can be really gorgeous nowadays. So, but no, I hope this really helped you with your Thanksgiving table. I'm so excited that you joined us tonight. Again, love the questions. I hope this helps you plan your table. Don't be afraid to use things in your house to bring this all to life. Again, think through the process. Again, go to one of our stores, pre-order some stuff if you would like to. You don't have to use. If you say, hey, this is too much, you can add 3 of these on a table and call it a day if you wanted to. It can be really easy. If you're just running out of time, make it easier on yourself because I do that personally. I'll go to our deli department and pick up some things that are half-made or pre-made and fake it because, you run out of time. This is the holiday season. There's only so much time for you to make a beautiful table too. So again, all these tips and techniques, I am so thankful that you enjoyed us. Thank you, Chef Charlotte, for joining us for this beautiful tablescape party that we just put together. We'd love to see your ideas as well.
One more thought, Andy. I just realized you coordinated your wonderful shirt with the things that are happening on this tablescape.
I've always been known about that. When I design a party or do a party, I always match the theme. So another one of those things, my baby shower was for a baby boy, and I had a gorgeous blue shirt on Saturday for my baby shower at my house for my neighbor. Again, it's those little things that you start noticing when you sit down and enjoy a meal with each other.
Man, the details.
It's all
wonderful.
about the details.
Thank you so much.
No, thank y'all so much. Thank you for joining us. We would love for you to join us for our other classes, and Charlotte will tell you more about those.
The classes we have coming up next week, we have Chef John Brand from Hotel Emma, and then we have Thanksgiving leftovers. So sorry about that. And to see the lineup, you could always go to HEB.com/classes. And in case you missed something in this class, you can always go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/HEB, and watch any of the classes, including this one, because everybody's gonna have the most beautiful Thanksgiving tablescape. Thank you so much.
Thank you again for joining us. I am so excited to be a part of this. I hope you learned something from it, and we would love to see you again for another class. Thank you again. Enjoy decorating your lovely Thanksgiving tablescape.